Hi everyone, it's me, Arielle, and it's Wednesday Warriors, and this week I'm going to be talking about things to look out for in eating disorder recovery as far as products and things that are quick fixes or false advertising. Basically, just some warnings for you so that you can do your best in recovery and be on your guard. There are a lot of things that people promote and that people want to sell for those who are recovering from eating disorders to make money off of you. Basically, there are people out there who want to prey on people who really want to work in recovery. And there are products and websites out there that can be harmful. And even if they're not harmful, they're just false. Recovery is hard work. So if you don't have to do anything yourself, chances are it's too good to be true, because recovery is about you and recovery is about working hard. You can't do nothing and rely on a product or rely on a website and expect to get well and expect to be recovered. There is an element of work that you have to do. Recovery requires effort, and it requires your effort. There's nothing that can do it for you. So anything that promises that you can sit back and relax and put your faith in something else is false. It might sound good, but it's not real. The other thing you want to look out for is quick fixes. Quick fixes are not going to help you in the long run. They may help you for a period of weeks, but they aren't something that you can put your faith and trust in for years to come. Quick fixes are the surest way to relapse. They'll work for a little while, and then you'll find yourself just as bad off as you were, or even worse. Recovery is possible, but no one can make it possible for you. You have to make it possible for yourself. Now, when I'm talking about these warnings and these things to look out for, I'm not talking about family members or treatment teams or people that are trying to help you, because certainly therapy and other services can really benefit you. And a lot of the time we do need help in our recovery. We can't do it by ourselves, but just because we're not doing it alone doesn't mean we're not putting any effort and work into it. You know as well as I do that recovery is about taking one day at a time, and sometimes it's very draining. You have to put a lot of energy into recovering from an eating disorder. It is not easy, and some days it's easier than other days. Some days it's harder than other days, and it's just part of it. It's just part of the process. There's no product out there that's going to make recovery easy for you. There are certainly services that can help you and make recovery easier, but there's nothing that's going to make recovery easy. If something's not going to require you to do any work, it's probably not a good idea. If there's something that you want to do or use or try, and you don't want to tell anyone else about it, or you don't want to tell certain people about it, chances are it's probably not a good idea, because some part of you wants to keep it a secret. Some part of you wants people to not know that you are using certain tactics or strategies or tips or products, whatever the case might be. And there are some really harmful things out there that are marketed to people who have eating disorders, or who have a low self-esteem, for example, or who are just in a vulnerable position. You're in a vulnerable state. No one can make you do anything. You're your own boss. You're in control of yourself, of your situation, of your life. Even when it feels like you're not, there are definitely things that you can control. And if you know this, and if you believe this, and if you want this to be true, you can keep yourself safe, you can protect yourself, and it might mean that you're going to have to put a lot of work into recovery, but I promise you it's worth it in the end. Some things do have a price, things like therapy and nutrition and certain services that are beneficial, but really the best things are free. And if you remember that the best things are free and the best things are within you to tap into, it puts you in more of an empowered position, and it puts you in more of a place to be ready for recovery, to be on your game for what you have to do. Things like motivation, encouragement, there's no price, and they're really, really vital. So I'll leave you with this. There are many choices that are involved in eating disorders and in eating disorders recovery, and people have to take responsibility for their actions. And envision a year that's filled with great things for you, things that will make you smile, things that will keep you smiling, that will help you cope, things that will express your talents and your gifts, things that will feel worthwhile, things that are simple and priceless. When you give something too much power, it can often ruin it, because what you're essentially doing is you're bringing anxiety on yourself. You're giving yourself more stress, something that seems bigger than you are, and it doesn't have to be bigger than you are. You're in control. So you have to kind of figure out which kind of a person you are, if you're either one of these. If you are the kind of person that constantly finds yourself in front of the mirror body checking and being criticizing towards yourself, or if you're the kind of person who avoids those mirrors at all costs because you're just so very much afraid. And if you are the kind of person who's constantly body checking, you need to challenge yourself to limit your time in front of that mirror, or to go without a mirror for one day each week and kind of build up your time that way without it. If you're the kind of person that avoids the mirror at all costs, you need to slowly reintroduce the mirror to your life and face that fear and understand that your perception may be skewed and that reality is definitely less scary than what you have in your head. If you're setting overall big picture goals for yourself, you're going to need to look at all the baby step goals that will lead you up to those big ones and see if they're realistic, see if you do actually have the means to get to those goals. And if you don't have the means, you then first have to work on getting the means and achieving that before you can achieve the bigger goal. This can be hard for people to grasp, but it's really, really important to partialize, break everything down, start small, and work up to the larger goal. Goals can a lot of the time be broken into much smaller pieces, and it's not that the goal is unachievable, it's just that it really is maybe 5 or 6 smaller goals that make up that larger goal. And I think writing it down on paper is a really good way to see what you're up against, see what you do want to achieve, and you can kind of cross things off as you do them. Start your day off with something good, whether that is reading a passage from a book of motivational sayings, whether it is rereading an email from a very good friend who supports you every morning, whether it's going to a positive blog for 10 minutes every morning, whether it is sitting to meditate. Whatever it might be for you. Some people like to journal right off the bat in the morning. Other people are not awake enough to put so much effort into something that's going on paper. But it's really about whatever works for you and starting off your day on the right note, on the right foot. If you wake up and you are dreading the day, or you're dreading what the day holds, you are setting yourself up to have a really bad day. So whatever you can do to start everything out right is extremely important. You put faith in things, you look for the good stuff, you try to emphasize the good stuff, de-emphasize the bad stuff, and just focus on the right things. Stay positive. It sounds both easy, and then when you think about it more, pretty hard to do, but it's possible, it's real, and it can happen. It's all well and good for me to explain where I used to be, but if I don't show you where I am now and what life means to me and what recovery is really all about and how fantastic it is, you're not going to want to achieve it. You're not going to think that it's great. You're not going to think that it's possible. You're not going to think that it's something worth shooting for. So the focus really needs to be on what comes after the eating disorder. And it also has to be on the process of recovery itself, which sometimes is bad, sometimes is good, sometimes is difficult, sometimes is a struggle in itself. But to show you the reality of that, the process and the journey of recovery, instead of the past behaviors and acts and stats and details of the eating disorder, is really going to get you farther.